and welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka Hey You Get Off My Lawn, aka Kris, you're being creepy again. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. If you're a first-time viewer, we do a lot of painting talk as well as a lot of what's under the sun, meaning no topics are barred. We'll talk about anything and everything, so be warned. Of course, if you are watching this live, you can ask your questions in the chat, whichever direction it might be in for you, and feel free to ask whatever questions on your brain. I'm more than happy to answer any and all questions. So it's the whole point of this show. It's all about you guys answering your questions, helping you guys understand and become more efficient, better, whatever, becoming more complete. That sounds kind of presumptuous, but anyway, if you're not able to attend live, you can ask, or you can submit questions and such to Kris@wayofthebrush.com. It is in the description below. If you're going to send pictures, send them as attachments in the email. Don't send it off as links to other sites because it's annoying and I won't do it. So please, attachments in the email. Also in the description below is a link to wayofthebrush.com, central hub of all this silliness. Has the links to all the social medias as well as Discord. Join us on Discord. It's a lot of fun. We keep the conversation rolling there 24/7. So feel free to join us there. It's a lot of fun. And, there's lots of channels for everybody. And, of course, conversations roll across channels. And it's kind of like this. It's just people running amok. It's the monkeys running amok. But it's a safe place for the monkeys to run amok. Also at wayofthebrush.com is links for t-shirts, as well as down below as well. Want to help the cause? Look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world. They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. If you've purchased yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com. And of course, you'll find a link for Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons who currently support. Without you guys, this channel just would not be able to go on. And of course, I'd have to go find a real job. And, so a huge thank you to everybody who allows me to continue to do what it is that I do, which is educate and inform and sometimes entertain. If you're not able to support, George, just subscribe. Thank you, George. Scared the crap out of me. If you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, thumbing up the video, liking, following, subscribing, sharing, and, all that ringing the bell and all that other stuff, that all helps as well. It helps tremendously. So, and it appeases the algorithm gods, apparently. Because that's who we pray to now. We pray to the algorithm gods. At least when we're in this format. When I'm outside, then I pray to whichever. Big thank you to Carl, a.k.a. Guymere Alfer, a.k.a. Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out if you love yourself some beer and you love yourself some Blood Bowl. Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take the time. Thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time out of his busy day to create the email jingles that play before the email segments of the show. And so always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother Evan for creating the intro, outro music that plays at the begin and end of the show. So always much love to my baby bro Evan. And of course, if you're into rare comics, in the description below is a link to his comics. And if you're into rare comics, he's got your hookup. And, he's driving around in his white van. It says free comics on the side. It's not free. Rare comics. Now everybody's going to go there and go, hey, you said free comics. Oh, George, you resubscribed with Twitch Prime. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, George. And he's got the little Way of the Brush emote. Who's joining us today? Oh, I didn't even start this thing up. Oops. Behind the ball. I knew there's always something I always forget to do at the beginning of this cast that I do. Yeah. Drewski, heyo, how you doing, man? Not too bad. How are you doing, Drewski? Hopefully everything is going well. Kevin Cabal, happy Saturday, my fellow paint monkeys. Sup, everybody? Reese Taylor, all right, Kris, how you doing? Tagged my finished Magnus in the Way of the Brush Instagram. I did see a Magnus in the Instagrams, so yes, we will get to that. Probably sooner than later. I was just having a quick look over at the GW side of things, as I do on a Saturday. And, I'm not really seeing much changed. It looks pretty darn standard to me. Heroes of the Chapter. I think, isn't that just the Dark Imperium guys? Isn't that the guys from that box set? These Chaos Duders. I've been seeing a lot of these Chaos Duders. They're pretty darn cool looking models. I like the little sorcerer dude. In fact, let's click. Let's click. Yeah. Very, very, very fun. Me likey. Oh, we even get a 360. Let's get a 360. Oh. Full of 360 goodness. Yeah, I like it. Am I correct in assuming this is a female Chaos Warrior? It's a very rare instance. I don't think we often get female warriors, Chaos Warriors. I like the little divots in the shield. I like that. It's a nice touch. A little bit of texture. Of course, you're wearing your multi-hides of your slain victims, I assume. Oh, look at this guy. He's got scaly shoulder pads. Does that give him an extra +1 against damage? For having scaly. And his runes are glowing. Ooh, glowing runes. I like these models. They're pretty cool. I'm not about to go rush out and buy them, but they are pretty darn cool. Is it me? Or does his head look too big for the body? Call me crazy. Is that head too big? I'm sure the designers are going, no, you moron. It's the right size. It looks really big. It's nice painting on the cloaks, too. I mean, it's consistent with GW, right? I like how they, keep it pretty straightforward, yet, they throw in these little elements that people go, oh, I'd really like to know how they did this, and what did they do for this? Like the flames on the staff, I really like that, too. It's nice. It's purty. It's purty. Anyway. Enough of that mumbo jumbo. So what do we got? Books? Oh yeah, Dark Angels came out, right? Dark Angels. Everybody was talking about Dark Angels. Storm Speeders. They look like the regular speeders, just bigger. They're Primaris Speeders. They're still open-topped. Oh, there's 3 dudes in it now. Oh, there's 3 dudes. Interesting. It's 3 dudes in a speeder. Sounds like a song. 3 dudes in a speeder. One riding on top with missiles. Gatling guns. It's kind of cool. It's Space Marine, so I don't get too fired up about Space Marine stuff, but yeah. Blade Guard. Eradicators. That's it. Books sold out. Oh, sold out. Dark Angels. Sold out. Well, there you go. I realize that G-Dubs, updates the site, I think, at 1 or something like that. I think somebody mentioned it before. It was 1 o'clock or whatever. But, yeah. Anywho, Drewski, doing well, my dude. Thanks. No problem. Yeah. No fucks given. Man! Anyone else gotten past the first 2 episodes of WandaVision? I keep falling asleep during the first. And good morning. I like WandaVision. I've been enjoying it. I'm not going to try and spoil anything here, but I really... I have some ideas as far as what's going on. This last episode that just aired yesterday is a lot of fun. I like the direction of storytelling that is going on with this series. And we were talking about it last night after watching the most recent episode, that I would like to see more of these shorter kind of stories told within the Marvel universe, because I've mentioned this before, I'm starting to get Marvel fatigued, right? And WandaVision is actually very refreshing in that regard. It's not just a straight up, story being told here, it's, you know, it's a fairly interesting story. And of course, it's dealing with something that, you know, most people can relate to, which is loss, right? And how do we deal with that loss? Well, how does somebody who's psychic and really powerful, and you know what I mean, like, how does somebody like that deal with it? And you know, it's just an interesting idea. And yeah, I mean, like, as far as getting past the first 2 episodes, I'm not sure what the issue is. I mean, it's a fun idea, and it is set in the modern current universe of where they've already established everything as far as, you know, all the other movies and stuff are concerned. Now, the rumor apparently is that this show will lead into Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know how the two are going to connect, but, you know, it's going to be interesting regardless. I've been enjoying WandaVision. I have been enjoying it. Again, it's interesting. It's different. You know, I mean, I'm not sure why anybody would be having issue with it as far as being a storytelling device. Now, I never read the comic that this little series apparently is based off of, I guess. I guess there was a series called WandaVision, which are stories of Wanda and Vision, whereas this seems to be, you know, drawing its basis from that. I have no idea how closely it's following along with that stuff. But again, you know, I'm not too tied up in it. And, you know, as far as crazy wackiness is concerned, well, yeah, that's part and parcel with, like, the kind of story that they're telling. And, you know, how, like, godlike her abilities are. Oof, jeez. Sir Peanut Butter, subscribe, tier 1. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, sir. What is that? I don't know what does that mean? What does that little emoji thing mean? I don't know. Oh, it's a monkey. Oh, it's a monkey. Monkey. It's a monkey. So anyway, WandaVision. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I'm not sure why, you know, a lot of people aren't enjoying it. Other than, you know, I mean, like, think of it all on what you're watching. It is a metaphor for what is going on inside her. Think of it that way. Okay, so everything you're seeing manifest, it's her reactions to those things. It's all about her. And yeah, so far I've been really enjoying it. And, you know, even somebody who I thought might not like it, which was my wife, she really enjoys it. She looks forward to catching the next episode. And the last episode was like 40-something minutes long. That blew by like it was 15 damn minutes. I thought it was a damn short. Like, it just flew right by. Holy kermolies. Somebody else. Josh, thank you for following. Get these little alerts now. And they're all happy alerts. But yeah, I enjoy WandaVision. You know, again, I'm looking forward to Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm looking forward to that one. Loki show I'm looking forward to. And of course, you know, third season Mandalorian, and of course the Book of Boba. I am definitely looking forward to that one as well. Mandalorian was the only reason I got Disney Plus, and in fact we went on a bit of a Disney movie kick. We actually rewatched Aladdin, the animated, not the live action, not that piece of shit live action film. But anyway, yeah, we watched Aladdin and we watched something else. I can't remember. We were going to watch Little Mermaid. But anyway, and the one thing is that I was going to watch the second Maleficent, because I hadn't seen the second Maleficent. Man, I can hardly even say that one. Haven't watched that one either. But yeah, I don't know. We were just having fun last night, watching old flicks. No fucks. That Dusty Divot. Reese Taylor. They look like awesome minis to paint the Chaos Knights. Yeah, those Chaos guys. Well, anime definitely, like with the Underworlds and the Age of Sigmar and the Warcry, like the sculpts that have been coming out of GW regarding those things have been really impressive. Really impressive. really with the Age of Sigmar stuff, you know, I've been saying it for a long time. Like, you know, there's just so much creative energy flowing through that line of models that it must be a lot of fun for the designers and the sculptors and the people painting them, and you know what I mean, like everybody on the crew doing that stuff. They must be having a lot of fun, especially you know back and forth spitballing ideas as far as which way to take a particular group or introduce a new group, or you know what I mean. Like, it would be really interesting to see what sort of ideas are floating around for future releases. That would be really fun. Yeah, it just, Age of Sigmar. And then you look at the 40k Space Marines. Space Marines. Space Marines. Oh, Necron. And a Space Marine. Space Marine. It's a Chaos Leader. Space Marine. You know, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, come on. There's a lot of lines that could use an update. Necrons needed an update, and they got it for the most part. Like the core stuff, right? I think do Eldar next. You could do Tyranids, I suppose. Not really. The line's pretty big and complete and is mostly plastics for the most part. Whereas Eldar is like, if you're to field your core units and stuff like that, is mostly, pewter, fine cast, right? It's there's no plastics there. Other than Dire Avengers and Guardians, which, only Dire Avengers really get taken. Guardians, nobody really seems to take Guardians. Although, I mean, I would love to do a whole Guardian army. That'd be fun. Just show up and just kind of swarm somebody with a bunch of Guardians. Just for giggles. Just to see how it would work, Especially since now the game is very, very board control, heavy, right? Winning the game of 40k is all about getting those objectives and scoring points throughout the game. Whereas the game used to be on the last turn, were you on the objectives? You won, right? You got the points. Whereas now it's like every turn, you're scoring, which is cool. I like it. Keeps the game flowing, and, it keeps it from getting boring for you and your mates, right? So, yeah. Mike Grimshaw. So they call this expansion Dire Chasm. Chasm, I say. I say Chasm. Perhaps they should do one in a dwarf mine and call it Orchasm. Or Orchasm? I see what you did there. That's funny. That's funny. I like it. I like it. Pitch it. Send them an email. Type it up. Say, yeah, I want a new expansion for Underworlds about dwarves, and could you call it, but separate it, go or chasm, chasm, or chasm. No fucks even. Good one. Mike Grimshaw. Oh, no fucks. Frantic. Hi, Kris. Hope you're doing great. Great. I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I'm fine. I'm okay. I am. Sir Peanut Butter. Morning, Kris Peeps. Morning, Sir Peanut Butter. Josh37 Web. Shout out to Harry Bridges. To Harry Bridges. Who's Harry Bridges? Why do I feel like I should know what that is? Harry Bridges. I don't know what Harry Bridges is. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not looking it up because my computer will get infested with something, I'm sure. Again. No. Lord Krabby, U-I-O, Kris, sup, Kris and monkeys, sup. I really want Turok Elves, Age of Sigmar. Turok Elves, yeah. Bunch of elves riding dinosaurs. Well, they've already brought the Sylvanath in, right? That's your tree hugging elves. We have the Rune Realm Lords, which is kind of like your high elves, right? What are the other elves? Oh, the dark elves. Well, you got your Daughters of Cain, so there's kind of like your element dark elves, right? I mean, yeah, you could throw in another, dinosaur elf group, right? Kind of like a in between high elf and, wood elf, or between a wood elf and a dark elf. I don't know. Is that the only three kinds of elves there are in old Warhammer Fantasy? Dark elves, wood elves, high elves, Christmas elves. I think that was it for the elves, right? I don't know. In 40k, yeah, you got the Harlequins, the Dark Eldar, Craftworld Eldar, Exodites, and Corsairs. Because Corsairs are, a thing, right? So, yeah. I don't know. It'd be fun, though. But, yeah, Turok Elves would be cool. And it would be a really great excuse to convert those dinosaur riding elves into Exodites for all the 40k players. And if GW was really smart, they'd make it a little bit easy for us to swap out parts that for the Eldars, and why not? Again, like I've talked about many times, like in Age of Sigmar, like there's no reason in the whole idea of these realms and these little universes, these pocket universes and everything like that, like there's no reason that one of them couldn't have opened up into the 40k universe, and it's elf Exodites, right? It's Tyranids, it's chaos, monsters, or even a space marine, right? they can go in any direction, and that's the really exciting part about Age of Sigmar, is that it can go anywhere. It can go anywhere. Yes, it can borrow from Warhammer Fantasy stuff, which is where its roots lie, but it can go anywhere. Whereas like 40k, a lot of the lore and everything about it is kind of static, and that falls in part. Oh, she left. I didn't realize my dog left. She was underneath. Anyway, like I said, like Warhammer Fantasy, you couldn't have the flying fish guys, right? You couldn't have Deepkin. Oh, Deepkin. There's the other elves, sea elves, right? Anyway, you wouldn't have those elves in Warhammer Fantasy. Nobody, like that line would have tanked. Everybody would have hated it immediately. It would have just got nothing but hate right out of the gate. Poet didn't know it. And, introducing this kind of stuff into, Age of Sigmar, no problem. Why? Because it's a brand new fantasy world. It's craziness. It's, it's dwarves riding around in ships that float in the clouds. And, you know what I mean? Like, it's just really fun ideas all over the place. And I really enjoy it. I think it's really cool. And, yeah, and I think they're trying to do that with 40K. Trying to move the story along. Trying to progress in the universe. And that, I don't know, that doesn't seem like the right move, as it were, to progress the universe, because if you're going to keep everything within Warhammer 40,000 and try and revive the old school roots, the rogue trader roots of the game and the universe, well, it's got to remain dark. It's got to remain, these are not happy times. But also more emphasis should be placed that the fact that the way this universe is a really bad place. But it's not. That is not what is shown. It's more of, well, we're humans, we're fighting off the monsters, so anything that the humans do is the good guys. And that's not entirely accurate, and that's not true to what 40K became. Also, the other problem is that because 40K has been so popular for so long, that there's so much stories and stuff written and explaining the finer little details of things, that all the mystery is gone. Right now, Age of Sigmar is full of mystery. We don't know where it's going. Who knows where it's going? We don't even know how its past was fully realized and what is going on now, and the transition. And you know what? They should not explain it all. They shouldn't. They should feel no need to explain any of that. Leave it as mystery, because that is what's intriguing, right? 40K used to have that, and then they started explaining everything away and codifying it, and And I think that was a mistake. I think is a mistake, I should say, not was. I still love 40K. Don't get me wrong, but Warhammer 40K seems to be becoming very, very Space Marine centric. I mean, I'm sure 40K to some degree has always kind of been 40K Space Marine centric, but I don't know. In this age of rapid release, I don't understand why they can't, move through an army update. Either roll it out piecemeal or all at once. I don't think right now is a good time to be, trying to grab everybody's dollar, because a lot of people are hanging on to their dollars these days. But, yeah. Anyway. Reese Taylor. Yeah, I think Eldar and Orcs are two of the armies that need an update the most. Orcs, do they need an update? I mean, just aside from like one or two characters that are fine cast, there's really not much that needs an update. Like, they're mostly plastics. Eldar, like, some of them model, like, look at the Phoenix Lords. The Phoenix Lords, like, other than Jane Czar, they're from the early 90s. Those sculpts, that's how old those sculpts are. The early 90s. They're probably older than a lot of you. So, Eldar really do need an update. Even the Falcon Grav Tank and the Viper and, sorry, my nose is itchy. Yeah, the Falcon was like mid-90s. I want to say it's like 95, 96 that thing came out. And the Viper was like 96, 97, something like that. So it was a lot. It was, it's been a long time since those kits were out. They need an update. The Rhino has been updated like, 4 times? And yet, the humble Falcon Grav Tank has been since the 90s. Mind you, though, the design aesthetic still holds up, which is why they probably feel no need to, oh, darn it. I hate when there's like an itch. Anyway, the design aesthetic still works today, which just speaks to, the design team that was surrounding the creation of these kits, right? Aaron C. Hi to Kris and Monkey Brethren. Happy Saturday. Screw the other armies. We need more fucking Space Marines. Yeah. I think you're joking, but I'm sure people hear that and go, you know what? He's right. We do need more Space Marines. And that sounds like craziness to me. Kevin Cabal, Orchasm. Sounds like a dwarf stripper. Lord Krabby. Are light guys elves too? Are light guys elves? Light guys. Elves too? I don't know. Yeah, swapping parts out. They make a lot of money on bits alone for Eldar stuff. Yeah, well, it'd be really cool. Like, I mean, there's nothing stopping anybody from, taking Deepkin and throwing Eldar Guardians on it and having, and in fact, I think I've seen somebody do that. They had a Warlock on one of the eels. And it was the Warlock on the eel, and they're flying, it's like a jet bike, right? Fantastic. Awesome. I just kind of wish, and the reason why people keep asking for, the dinosaur riding elves is because, Exodites have always been described as being, riding dinosaurs, right? Because it's imagined that the maiden worlds that the Exodites live on are primitive worlds. And, well, what do we think of when we think of a primitive world? Well, we think of fucking dinosaurs, right? And, shit like that. So that's why. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, a primitive world could be a bunch of insects, could be, could be whatever crazy crap you want to imagine. Don't limit yourself. Like, if it's an elf riding an insect, I mean, like, and they're calling it an Exodite. Yeah, it's an Exodite. Why not? Right? Or some sort of insect lizard. Get really crazy. Make some crazy, sci-fi, whatever. I mean, it's not fantasy, but I mean, it's fantasy in the regards that it's not real, right? David Vega, sup, Kris? Sup. Old Man Logan, hey there, Kris and monkeys. Happy Saturday. Hope all is well. Hope you're well as well. Well as well? Is that proper language? I hope you're well as well. As well. Anthony B, shotgun beers. Actually, no, I'm not shotgunning beers. I'm drinking my coffee. I actually do have a bit of Christmas cheer in here today, so keeping things a little bit light. I'm not gonna fall down piss tanked or anything, but Lord Krabby, sorry, meant to say the new AOS faction are the elves too. The new faction, you mean the Lumineth Realm Lords? Yes, they're elves. Pretty sure they're elves. They look like high elves. They have Teclis on their side. They gotta be elves. Teclis just doesn't, hang around a bunch of Yumis. Hangs around elves. Doesn't he? That's the latest faction, isn't it? Yeah. So got me clicking things now. You got me clicking things. But yeah, that's the latest army. The Lumineth Realm Lords. Or other than the big giant duders. The big giants. The giants. Anyway. Sorry, I was clicking on the things there, and yeah. Anthony B, you owe me 1 shotgun beer? Like, I shotgun the beer and then mail you the can? Or I mail you the beer that's to be shotgunned? How do I owe you? How do I owe you a shotgun beer? Or you mean like I just take the beer and just shotgun it right here on the show? If that's what you mean, yeah, I could do that. But most of the time, well, the only beers I've got right now are bottled, so I'm not exactly going to shotgun a bottled beer because it'll hurt. I'll get cut. I'll end up getting cut. I'll get hurt. You'll hurt me. Alrighty, let's. We might actually have a shorter show today. Just checking my inbox. My inbox is a little quiet, which is fine because I'll just end today on 120 minutes. Let's jump over to the Instagram side of things. Let's get this out of the way. Let's have a look here. It's Kris Dilly. Looks like some Blood Angels. I assume these are the Marines from the Indominus box set. I'm pretty sure you can get these guys separately, right? Is that supposed to be blood on the yellow helmet dudes? Is that what that is? It is a bit of a challenge, because, I mean, like, if there's blood on his helmet, then I assume there's blood elsewhere on him. But it's a harder time seeing it as, the red armor, right? And if you're going to do that kind of, like, is there blood on his sword, too? There's blood on his sword, too. If you're going to do blood, and especially if the model itself is, red, I would strongly suggest doing the blood darker, like it's dried blood. So on a bright red model like a Blood Angel, you have this darker splashes of blood. Of course, you could even go with a color. It could be orc blood, right? So greens. It could be Tau blood, blue. Tau blood is supposed to be blue, right? I'm asking. It's blue, right? It's supposed to be blue. That's established that Tau blood is blue. Anyway. And, just go with a darker brown red. Not brown, but like a brown-red mixture. Like if you took, say, for example, I don't know, Mephiston red, like two or three parts Mephiston red with one part, like Dryad bark or Rhinox hide or something along those lines. And then thin it down and then create your little splish splashes onto the model, especially on the red bits. On the helmet, you could leave it that red. That's fine. And of course, having it on the base as well reinforces the idea that we're looking at blood splattering. So if you had a little bit of blood in the snow, would also help the viewer. Because, to me, the guy on the left, he looks He looks like he just got blood on his helmet. Like, is it his blood? I like the Death Company Leader. He's cool. Oh, see, yeah, you got blood in the snow here. Yet he doesn't look like he's been beating the crap out of anybody. Whereas Buddy on the left there is charging forward and... Oh, no, it looks like there's a little bit of blood on his snow, too. Okay. Oh, I didn't give us a like. There we go. Gave it a like. Gave it a like. Gave it a like. Oh, look at this. This is Alex. The backlog marathon continues. Nice work. Straightforward. Neat. I like your treatment on the end of the cloak. I like that. Yeah, very solid painting. It's nice and neat. See some edging going on here. Edge highlighting, I should say, not edging, but damn it, you know what I mean. Yeah. Really nice work on the cloak. And I mean, primarily this guy is like all cloak, right? So, yeah. No, it's very solid. Very solid painting. I mean, yeah, there's areas you can go, but meh. I like it. It's good stuff. Oh, Shaky Brush Minis. Big boy ready to hit the table. I call him Golden Glove Russo, super heavyweight champ of Ball. Okay. Sure. These dreadnoughts, when I first saw these dreadnoughts, these, what are they, Redemptor? I was not a big fan. But as time has gone on, I have become a fan of these dreadnoughts. I actually really like these dreadnoughts. They're pretty darn cool. I like that canopy surrounding his sarcophagus opens. I like that. And I like the miniguns. I kind of would like to see him with more miniguns. You know, just more. Oh, is there more pictures? Oh, there's more pictures. I do like the little gold fingers, though. It definitely draws the eye in, like around the icon and the sarcophagus and the fingers. And I kind of wish there was a gold element on the gun, the Gatling gun on the far left. Like, I can see you did the heat treating on the gun on his fist, but I don't... Well, it's probably the angle. Yeah, it looks... I think, like, you probably could have went with gold around the end of the barrel cover and then created that heat tempering on that just to brighten that end up a bit. And I think that would balance it out visually, because, like, here, yeah, see, like I feel like I want to see a gold element somewhere on the other weapon. Like the end of that barrel, that I don't know, what is that called? That sleeve that covers the ends of the of the Gatling barrels. Anyway, if that was gold, but that had, you know, like the heat treating on it, like, you know, the heat tempering, I think that would be really cool. That'd just be a nice little element. Just an idea. Oh shit, did I give that a like? I did. Oh, look at this. Paint Minis, 1990. Thousand Suns. Let's give it a like. Yeah. Oh, look at the eyeball. Oh, do we got close-ups here? Oh, we got close-ups. We got close-ups. Immediately that eyeball jumped out at me, because it's freaky. Really nice work on the feathers and the wings. Oh, yeah. I like the flesh. Nice work on the gold, too. I like that you picked out all the little gemstones. A lot of work, man. I like the cloth. You're highlighting cloth. I like that, you know, everything is carefully picked out. It's nice and neat. It's a ton of work. I mean, you could easily spend a lot more time on this kind of model. You know, creating finer transitions between colors, but not 100% necessary. I like the little bubbling lava. It's really cool. I like the little fist coming out of it. What is that, like a dreadnought fist? Somebody? I don't know. Terminator? Love the eyeball. That's the that's the icing on the cake there. Really nice work on that. Also, the way you did the Gola. Sorry, I was quiet there for a second. It was because I was admiring the work. The gold on the blade. Did you airbrush those transitions in there? Really nice. It's nice work. It's just because everywhere else I see, it looks like a layered approach. But here I'm seeing airbrush, so I wasn't too sure if you do a combination of airbrushing and, brush work, like, to achieve your effects. Which is good. I mean, it's a good habit to be in, to just, mix up. Don't rely on one thing, I love all the use of the eyeballs all over the place, though. I like that on his thigh there. His hand. How I are in his hand. Look at that. I think the eye, like the irises, like, see, yeah, you have a green flame, but a blue eye. I think the flame could have been blue with the eye being blue, or even the eye being green. Because I'm looking over here and the eye's green, but like the glowing runes on his forearm, are blue. I think those could, like, you know what I mean? Like, go for one color kind of thing. Although I imagine you're probably looking to, mix it up a bit too. Yeah, if I'm willing to bet, you lay out your base coat, lay out the initial transitions with an airbrush, and then come in and fine-tune it. That's how that looks anyway. I could be completely wrong. It really doesn't matter. Oh, we get a moving video thingy. Ooh. You need one of them turntables so that you can, fix this and then let it, rotate around. If you're, looking to, like, really kind of, show off your painting, as it were. I'm sure you're saying stuff there, but I'm not catching it. I think we caught this last week. Yeah, we did. We caught this one last week. So that is that for the going over to Instagram. Very cool. So if you guys want me to have a look at your work and have a look at it on the show, use the hashtag WayTheBrush. It'll show up in my list of things. Use the hashtag WayTheBrush, and I'll give it a look-see, and I'll offer commentary if I feel that I need to comment on something. Sometimes I just, I'm just admiring the painting, just some damn fine work. Lord Krabby, how you like WandaVision, Kris? Did you watch it? I was just talking about it earlier in the show. I was still watching Conrad or Cobra Kai. Every Friday with a friend. Season 3 has been a blast. Yeah, Cobra Kai was really good. Cobra Kai is really good. I was surprised. And I waited a long time to get into Cobra Kai. And yeah, it was the wife was like, yeah, let's watch Cobra Kai. I was like, all right, let's watch Cobra Kai. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And I like the storytelling in that one as well. That one is very much modern storytelling, giving you both sides of a story. And the one that was what I thought was really interesting was how when we're hearing Johnny tell his side of his interactions with Danny, and how Danny is the bad guy in Johnny's story, right? Which is very true of our world, right? I mean, nobody sees themselves as the bad guy. Everybody sees themselves as the good guy. Well, if you are in conflict and both people think they're doing the right thing, right, then, what the hell's going on, right? It's just very interesting. I just thought it was, I thought it was pretty damn good show. Mike Grimshaw, shorter show. Now you've just jinxed it, Kris. I know, now that I said that, I keep looking at the clock, too. Anthony B, I want someone to paint Teclis as Elon Musk. I feel that they are both quite similar. I apparently do not know enough of Teclis to think of him as Elon Musk, or I don't understand either character as well as I thought I did, or care to. And I meant, you just shotgun a beer. I've been saying it as a fun expression for a couple years now. Well, I know you've been saying it for a while, and I don't think I've ever done it on the show. Excuse me, something got caught in my throat there. A tickle. Something's tickling my throat. Anyway. Vivian Wolf. Hi, Kris. Hope you're well. Thank you. I hope you're well as well. See, again. I hope you're well as well. But there's got to be a better way to send that sentiment forward without it sounding ridiculous. I hope you're well as well. No, see, what's a better word to finish that off with? Come on, people. A lot of you are smart out there. Help me out here. Help. For God's sakes, man. Help me out. Help me. Please, help me. Reese Taylor, it took me a bit of time to do. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I airbrushed the blade and the wings. Okay. Yeah, so with the airbrush, you're going through, you're laying your primer down, you're laying your base colors down, you're creating any initial blends that you want, and then you're coming in and fine-tuning it with some layered highlights, right? That's the way the process looked to me, because absolutely nothing wrong with it. In fact, it sounds like a very efficient way. I've done that a few times on some projects where basically I just laid it quickly down with the airbrush, and then just did an edge, and that was it. You know what I mean? Called it done. Mind you, something you want to spend a bit more time on. Now, a model like Magnus, yeah, he's one of those painter's dreams, because I mean, you can paint him up any which way, and it's not too often I see him painted up without red skin or magenta skin, or whatever color his skin is. Purple skin? I don't know. Which is kind of unfortunate, because I mean, you can go almost anywhere with that model and that detail. I mean, but I always see it kind of done the same way. It's kind of, I don't know. I guess realistically, I'm just kind of bored when I think that's why I'm kind of fatigued on Space Marines, right? Is because I see Space Marines done the same all the time. And everybody's like, look at my Space Marines. Well, great. What did you do? I put paint on it. And I painted it just like somebody else painted theirs, and somebody else painted theirs, and somebody, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, great. You followed somebody's guide, and you're happy. Awesome. But, personally, I'm not terribly impressed. I mean, good effort. And I mean, in the sense that we are in a learning kind of environment. Well, yes, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Right. But if it was something that you wanted critiqued, or, for me to, examine, well, I want to see originality. I want to see things different. I want to see, outside the box thinking. Right? And that's what usually impresses me about stuff, is outside the box thinking. Especially within a confined realm as miniature wargaming painting is concerned. Dark Commission, very nice. At Reese Taylor, thanks. Cheers. Roman Matinov, there he is. Solid stuff, mate. And hey, everyone. Hey. I'd pay to see Conrad Kai show. See how those California kids hold up to a good old skinning. Conrad? Yeah. Conrad, was it Conrad Kurz? Yeah. Now, would it be really bad if he was like Commander Conrad Kurz? And it was spelled with a K, Commander? Or Commandant? Conrad with a K and then Kurz with a K? KKK? That's not good. Reese Taylor, I love Hawk's story in Cobra Kai's too. Yes, I think so as well. Hawk's it's a very interesting story, right? Because I mean, all the kids, are modern kids, some of those storytelling tropes are, from work from the 80s as well, but a lot of it is, is kids today, right? And that's who this story's for, is for everybody today. Um, Again, it's just a fun story in the universe of Cobra Kai, of Karate Kid, right? And this last season was a lot of fan service, I think, but rightly so. I mean, it's fun how to reincorporating these older elements and stuff. For me though, I mean, Johnny, the story of being about Johnny is really what Cobra Kai is about, or Eagle Fang Karate. I think I might get it. I might get one of those shirts, Eagle Fang. I might get an Eagle Fang Karate shirt. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I mean, like for me, I mean, like it's part. It's easy for me, at least. It's easier to empathize with Johnny than it is Danny. Whereas when I was a kid, it was easier to empathize with Danny than it was Johnny, right? Because the first Karate Kid movie is in the typical fashion of, good versus evil, right? Danny's good and, Johnny's bad, right? And whereas, obviously, like the real world, everybody is good in their own stories, right? And, yeah. But the hilarious part, though, is Johnny is kind of like, he's like a caveman who was frozen in time, and then he's been thawed out, and he has no idea what this modern world he's in. And like, how big a drunk stupor do you have to be in for many, many decades for you not to be aware of cell phones and, Facebook and, you know what I mean? Like the modern world we live in. Like how out of it do you have to be to not be in tune with that stuff, right? So anyway. Thought it was kind of fun. I enjoy the show. It's a good show, and I'm probably gonna get myself I'm gonna get myself an Eagle Fang karate shirt. Where am I? Mr. V. Hey Kris, I'm going to dip my toes into airbrushing. What should I look for in a beginner one that does not suck, but maybe not top of the line either? Well, I always recommend, even as a beginner brush, a Patriot 105. Do you need the Extreme Patriot 105? Sure, you can if you want. It's not necessary. Patriot 105. I always recommend that one, just because I have experience with that, and I've been using it for many, many years, and it's kind of where I started as well. And as long as you take care of it, it'll last you a long while, and it'll be there when you need it. That is really airbrushing, even with a cheap brush or a really expensive brush, just like your regular bristle brushes. You can buy cheap brushes and you can buy really expensive ones, but if you don't take care of them, they're not going to be there when you need them. And it's the same thing with an airbrush. So when you get an airbrush, there is a big learning curve to it, but it's necessary if you really want to get better. If you're only looking to get an airbrush for priming and maybe some base coating, like en masse, like you got like a lot of projects, and you really are gearing towards getting this stuff done. Getting yourself a cheaper brush, like a hobby brush, look up the Badger's 350. Which is... Where the hell's mine? There it is. Which is kind of like this one here. It's one of these style. You can find these at most hobby places. But these I do not think cost very much. There is like no needle size to worry about. These are siphon fed. So you fill these up with the paint. And then it's just airflow. It's just air. And that's it. You really don't really get a lot of control. And this is just for a quick prime, a quick base coat, stuff like that. But yeah, going with a brush like this, and these are pretty cheap. You can find these like most big box stores. Something along those lines. The other one is getting a compressor. I really wouldn't recommend going with compressed air tanks, like, because I know they sell tanks that have compressed air and you just attach it to your airbrush and, they don't give you very consistent air pressure or for very long. Of course, you can find some really decent compressors online for pretty cheap. My first compressor was, I think, $30, which is not much. But it had no tank. It had no tank on it. It was just the motor. And once I got into getting more fine-tuned with my airbrushing, I found that I wanted a tank on my compressor because I was finding that as I was getting in close with finer detail type stuff, the motor constantly running, and it gets really, really hot if you're airbrushing for a while. But you can see the cycles of air as the motor is constantly running, and it's kind of like, like the sprinklers, right? And it goes, right? You see that on your work. Now, mind you, I was pretty close in, and, I was working in a fine sense there. If you're just, spraying on a prime or spraying on a base coat, you're not going to notice. It's not important. But it's when you're getting in fine. But again, it all depends on what you want to do. What do you see yourself needing to get done with this airbrush so that you can get your stuff done and also be a good entry point, but also not be so expensive that if you mess it up, replacing it is cost prohibitive, right? There's a fine tune. And I mean, like, if you're the kind of person that just has a lot of resources that you can just chuck away at this kind of stuff all the time, well then, carry on, but if you're, on a tighter budget, then yeah, you've got to be very conscious of what you're doing then. Yeah. So hopefully that helps, Mr. V. Yeah. Of course, if that was entirely clear, feel free to ask follow-ups. Ruben Matnoff, 2 Kris, 2. I hope you're well too. That doesn't have the same kind of, it doesn't sound right though. I hope you're well too. I don't know, because like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. I don't know. Crazy. I get it. Ruben Matnoff at Mr. V. Get a compressor brush sets. Even though they suck, you learn the ropes and you can get into a proper one once more comfortable. That's what worked for me at least. Yeah. Again, I mean, like, you can join us on Discord as well. And, the monkeys are more than willing to offer their suggestions. And yeah, not everybody does the same thing. I mean, even people who've been listening to my advice for many years, they take a part of it and incorporate it, and they listen to somebody else. And, I like what they said there, and that makes kind of sense for what I'm doing. And yeah, I like what he's doing, and I like what he's doing. And that's how you grow your experiences and how you grow your expertise as we, become more proficient as miniature painters, right? It's all about just taking bits of information all over the place, incorporating into yours, and, making it yours. Dark Mission, episode 332. I'd say two as well also. Oof. And you wrote it 3 times. That sounds like something that could trip up an AI bot. You know what? I'm gonna use it, Dark. I'm gonna use it. I'd say two as well also. I can't even say it. I can't even say it. It's too confuddling. It's too confuddling. And I'm hoping that this is something that messes up AI bots. The bots. All those bots out there. Bunch of bots. Bunch of dirty bots. Vivian Wolf. Crazy hot takes from Kris tonight. KKK. That's not good. So controversial. So brave. KKK not good. Yeah, I know. To come out and state that the KKK are bad, I know it's really quite a bold stance, isn't it? These days, it seems like, right? It seems to be almost vogue to not say it. No, it's a Simpsons reference. The joke that I said, the KKK, that's not good. That's a Simpsons reference. Fire Trick 18. Spoilers. I'm out. Okay. Oh, when I was talking about WandaVision? Oh, Cobra Kai. I'm talking about Cobra Kai. Ah. Russ Sandbags. Hi, Kris. Hi, Russ. Vivian Wolf. Crazy hot takes from Kris. Oh. That's the same sentence. Spoilers. Whoa. These things are coming at me twice. Russ Sandbags. How would you paint a Greek bronze red with black lettering style? How would I paint it? With a brush. A Greek bronze and red with black lettering style. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. Like, are we talking about like a color scheme for historical pieces? Like, are you making... Because like a Greek bronze. Well, what's the difference between bronze and Greek bronze? And red, well, what hue of red are we talking about? A deep red? Not so saturated red? And the black lettering style. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what you're asking for. Like what's Greek bronze? I would just, if I was painting Greek model, like if it was a historical model, and if I was painting in bronze, well, I'd just paint it a straight up bronze. I'd use whatever bronzes I had in my collection. Failing that, I would create a bronze by, adding a more like a purple brown mixture into silver to get a metallic, and then go from there. Of course, you could also paint it in a non-metallic metal style and not use any metallics altogether and just use straight up opaque colors, but you have to be fairly versed in non-metallic metal. And if you're asking me how to paint Greek bronze and red, I'm going to assume that you are not that experienced with non-metallic metals. Yeah, I mean, how do you paint that? You just paint it. I mean, first of all, okay, like if I was going to go for something historical, then I would do research on the period that I'm trying to emulate. I'm going to assume we're talking about historical models. And yeah, I would go from there. I would look up history books and stuff like that, look at illustrations, and then emulate that. Probably take a little bit of artistic liberty as far as how bronze and how red and how black lettered something was. But otherwise, yeah, I would go from there. I mean, yeah, like it's a specific question, but I mean, like it's wide open, as there are a bazillion different ways to go about it. And I'm not sure exactly what specifically are you looking for, like, because like, is there a difference in Greek bronze? Like, if I search Greek bronze, am I going to get like some crazy ass color? I don't know. Let's find out. Greek bronze. Yeah, it's kind of a gold color, eh? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna go for like what you see in these pictures and what their bronze looks like, it looks more goldish, which, is contrary to what I would assume when we're talking about bronze. Bronze being a very dark color. Of course, too, here. Let's have a look at this one here. Yeah, see here, this one. Let's go to the screen. On the right-hand side there. Homer's Grease. So something like that I mean, you can achieve that kind of look just by painting it in opaque colors. By going with more ruddier flesh tones, and then using that blue-green, like a turquoise, and stippling that in there. And then just going to brighter tones, pushing it with off-white, like a bone color, as your highlights, and then just build it up and build intensity. If you're comfortable with non-metallic metal. If you're going with proper metallics, then yeah, I mean, I would just use something like, Screaming Bell. Do a little bit of Sotek green, thinned out, stipple that on top of the metallic. Take something like Nilic Oxide, very carefully apply it to any corners, recesses, anything like that. And then come in with a dry brush of, what the hell is that, copper? Yeah, the bronze color. Because bronze is an alloy, right? But I'm looking at like this other one here. And yeah, this is Bronze Age. And that looks more like gold. But I think I'm at, whoop, freaking compressor. That looks more like gold. So, yeah. Whereas this one here looks more like a proper bronze, right? But anywho, yeah. I mean, again, like I said, like there's many different ways to go about that. And yeah. Mr. V, thanks for tips. No problem. Reese Taylor, Badger are good brushes, and Iwata, I have the Eclipse and the Smart Jet Pro compressor. Had it for years now. Cool. Yeah. Lord Krabby, Kris, CBD all the way. Ruben Matnoff, yee, +1 on the Iwata. Got the Eclipse for years now. Yeah, so like I often recommend Badger just because my experiences with Badger for the last coming up on 10 years, I think. 8 or 9 years I've been playing with Badger products. And yeah, that's the only reason. I've heard many good things about Iwata and Pache, and you know what I mean? Like, and whenever we're talking like equipment, it's usually like whatever is readily available in your area. So, for example, for some of you out there, there might not be any hobby shops around who sell, these particular brands of paints. But you have an art supply place, and they have particular brands and brushes, and you know what I mean? And so, yeah, just you can go for those, give it a try. Just buy 1 or 2 colors, and give it a try. For artist brand type stuff, I mean, like I have many recommendations. I like Golden High Flow. It works fine on miniatures. I just did Jane Czar. I just did Jane Czar, and I stayed entirely within Golden High Flow. I did that entire model with not miniature paint, so, yeah. David Brunfell, oh my God, Kris, no, your mini painting advice is the Bible. You crushed my world. Yeah, no, I mean, feel free to take any bits of my advice and incorporate it with somebody else's bits of advice and make it your own. And, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. That's what we do, So, yeah. Mr. V, I'd love if you wrote a book. I actually, in seriousness, I have considered it. A book / guide / thoughts / but I also wanted it to be more, I don't know. Like there's a few ways that if I was going to create like a painting guide or a book of painting, I'd want to have some fun with it and do something different. Because Kris is always about doing things differently. Because I mean, like putting something out that looks just like a Games Workshop paint guide, that'd be fun, but it'd be boring. You know what I mean? Because it'd be like, well, yeah, I got Games Workshop's paint guides. Why do I need your paint guide? You're doing things the same thing as them. I can just, I can just learn how they're doing it, right? And so it's no fun. It's no fun. And yeah, I would like to have fun with the process. But yeah. Russ Sandbags. Yeah, a book on painting would be ultra cool Kickstarter. Yeah, I'd probably have to do it as Kickstarter because it would require me to take some time. I mean, realistically, I can start the book right now without needing a Kickstarter, right? And really, the Kickstarter would just be to, pre-orders and, of course, for things like, if there was extras, signed copies or special editions or first editions, and, like all these things, right? I have a cousin who's in publishing, and yeah, so she'd be very helpful, I think, in making an actual book happen. Where the hell am I? Russ Sandbags. I should have said pottery bronze. I really like the color scheme, and I'm trying to emulate it. The pottery bronze. The pottery bronze. Like this? Like on the right there? Is that what we're talking about? Or we're talking about this kind of pottery bronze? It's kind of the same as this kind of bronze. Are we talking about this kind of bronze? Is that bronze? I don't even know if that's bronze. I had an idea. I still have the model of doing a paint job that looked kind of like this. It was a model for oh my god, the opposite of War Machine. Holy frick! I'm drawing a complete blank. What is it's hordes? Jesus, it's hordes. I had to say the word to myself there. Warma hordes. Yeah, they're Scorn, I think is what they're called, and they have a war machine, and I wanted to do that kind of pottery like work. But as far as like pottery bronze, yeah, I mean, what are we talking about here? Pottery bronze, like bronze, like a pot that's bronze, like. Are we talking about like these clay pots that have these designs all over it with these colors? What's this? It's shields. Yeah, like, again, we have to be a little bit specific with Kris because, I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about when we're talking about with this kind of stuff, right? Fire Jerk 18. Kris, do you mix colors often when just painting on a personal project? I came back just a few minutes ago. Do I mix colors often when painting on personal project? On almost any project that I show on camera, I will often mix. Now, as far as like just creating a custom color and mixing with that, not a lot, just because the paint typically dries out pretty quickly, and so that custom color is not going to last very long. And when we're dealing with miniature painting, dealing with custom colors, other than it being the base coat, it kind of gets lost. So, for example, say I was painting, a Space Marine, and it was an off red, and I made a custom color for the holster, which was like say an off brown. Well, those colors would get kind of lost and would just kind of look more like an aesthetic, especially if it was a kind of an off red, and then I threw the Blood Angel symbol on it. It would look like just another interpretation of red, as opposed to just simply following along. You know what I mean? And just, painting it up in a codex fashion, right? Using the prescribed colors. So in that regards, I don't do a lot of custom colors, but I do a lot of mixing, because I will create the in-betweens, right? So like going from like Mephiston Red and Evil Sun Scarlet. I will typically mix a color between the two. Evil Sun Scarlet and Wild Rider Red. Sometimes I do mix a color between the two. It all depends on the surface area and if I'm looking to create finer transitions. Again, it's all situational. It's not, it's not one or the other. It's situational. It's always situational. Painting is always situational. That's really about it. Like when we were just looking at the Magnus model, right? Used an airbrush to create the initial blends, and then went in and layered on highlights, right? It's not one particular technique to achieve a desired result. It's the combination of everything. And I'm sure that, there's a little bit of dry brushing involved, and you know what I mean? Like all these other little factors, and you know what I mean? Like, again, it's just, it's more of a holistic way of going about, how we look at the way we paint models. Again, it's not one way. Like a lot of people, well, glazing. You gotta know how to glaze. And glazing helps. You don't have to. It helps, but you don't have to. Because again, glazing essentially is just layering, right? It's just working in thin layers of paint. So it's just layering. So if you understand how layering works, you're already halfway there to glazing. And it's just dialing in on how much thinner to use, and either with your water or mediums, whatever you use to thin, right? And getting it down to that consistency you like. And then, of course, knowing how to move your brush on that surface to get the maximum result. That's it. That's glazing. It's a nuance, and it is hard to teach. You can get told the actual mechanical basics of it, but it's up to you to learn it. And that's, I think, where a lot of people have, this idea in their head that these things are difficult. Well, because you're not putting in the time to learn it. You got to put in the time. I can tell you how to do everything that there is about miniature painting. I can tell you it all. But until you actually employ the techniques and begin to fully understand them and grasp them, they're not going to sit in your brain, and they're not going to do you any good. You have to put them to practice. You have to practice. Practice. Jax the Pirate. Now that would be awesome. Something like painting cookbook. Yeah, there's painting cookbooks. I mean, Citadel put out a painting cookbook a long time ago. It actually sits up nicely on your table, and you can flip through it. And it's got the rings and everything like that, and so and it's got a nice thick card paper stock for pages. That was a pretty good painting guide, and it had all the color swatches, and it was a straightforward guide. Would I do something like that? I don't know. Again, like I said, I want to do something different. It'd be different than what anybody else has done. Even if the differences were minute. I still would not want to do something exactly the same. I would not do, painting guide like Citadel. I'd want to do it different, right? Lord Krabby, what you say about LOL miniature talk only? Great song though. Okay. Russ Sandbags Infinity? I don't know. Russ Sandbags, when are Exodites coming out? Pff, who knows? Who knows if they're even a possibility? Because, I mean, in Warhammer 40k, to introduce Exodites into Warhammer 40k, sure, you could. You could totally have them as a faction in the game. Even though that they should be rare, and in the lore, they just basically sit on their planets, and they're basically just defending their worlds all the time, right? So it's not like they would go to some crazy-ass world to wage war, because they would leave that to the craft worlds, or the remainder of the craft worlds, right? Because by the sounds of it, realistically, Exodites, they don't live like craft world Eldar. And they don't live like Dark Eldar, and they don't live like Harlequins, and they don't live like Corsairs, right? They basically are just kind of living a simpler life. They have weapons and stuff to defend themselves, sure, right? Pitchforks and things of that nature, right? But otherwise, they're mostly a primitive faction, and they would rely on other Eldar to come to their aid in need, or maybe back up a Eldar attack force. But I mean, realistically, I don't see like the idea that the Eldar, anytime there's a big battle, well then they sound the alarm and all the Eldar muster together and march off, because Eldar realistically shouldn't be that gung-ho to go to battle for the most part, because every life lost is a tragedy for the Eldar. Unlike humans, where, and orcs, right? And Tyranids, that, it's just meat for the grinder. Rah, we can make more. Rah. Whereas Eldar, it's not the case, right? The Eldar, it's like, no, we can't afford to lose a single soul. And every time they lose a soul in battle, it's a tragedy, right? And so they should have, realistically, Eldar should avoid war for the most part, right? Yet, they actively go out and will, attack a city or, raid a camp or, or attack a starship or blow up a planet or whatever, right? Whatever the plot needs them to do, they'll do it. And, sure. But do we need an Exodite faction? It'd be fun. But, I mean, like, as far as the lore is concerned, I mean, I don't think Custodes should be a faction. There's lots of things that probably shouldn't be a faction in Warhammer 40,000. But whatever, right? I'm not in charge of these decisions, so it doesn't matter to me. Russ Sandbags. Maybe Exodites could be in a themed box game. Sure. Exodites in a themed box game? Yeah, sure. Right? Have them for Kill Team. Now, 40k, you know how like Age of Sigmar has Underworlds and Warcry, and they both have distinct models? There's nothing like that for 40k, is there? I mean, you have Kill Team, but there's no Kill Team specific models. There's no models that are Kill Team only. Blackstone Fortress has its own models that can be used in Warhammer 40k, but they're standalone models within that game system. But is there any other ones? So yeah, I mean, you could have, I don't know, what would be very fitting? Imperial Guard versus Exodites. Imperial Guard versus Exodites. That would be a very fitting board game, thematically. I guess you could have its sisters as well. Or any other faction, Necrons or whatever, Chaos. But yeah, a standalone board game with Exodites would be pretty cool. And then that way you could incorporate Exodite units into the regular 40k game as auxiliaries, right? That'd be fun. Lord Krabby, reject monkey, go back to Turok. Aspire painting. Many of Blackstone Fortress models also work in Kill Team. Sure. I mean, the models can work anywhere. I mean, models are just models. I mean, you can make up whatever rules you want for whatever models. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, I was just trying to make the comparison of, like Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and Underworlds. They all have unique sculpts to those game systems, even though they're part of the larger whole. Warhammer 40,000, just Blackstone Fortress is the only thing that comes to mind. That is part of the larger whole, right? Box games. I'm just going to click box games. So Kill Team. Oh, excuse me. All Kill Team. Yeah, Kill Team is all just books. There's no models. So when you get into Kill Team, I mean, like, there's no unique sculpts to Kill Team. Which maybe there should be. Right? I think that'd be pretty cool if Games Workshop started doing unique sculpts for, Space Marines and Eldar and Necrons and, for all the little Kill Team things, right? I think that'd be pretty cool, actually. What was I looking at? Oh, box games. Aeronautica. Aeronautica's different scale. That doesn't really fit. Titanicus. That's another different scale. Necromunda. Necromunda is within the 40k universe. You could use Necromunda models in Warhammer 40,000 because you can make you can make the gangs units of an Imperial Guard army or an Inquisitor's force, right? Just may have them as regular, humans, which they are. But yeah, could totally do that. Well, except the Corpse Grinders. But Corpse Grinders, you could use those as cultists. Enforcers, again, Inquisitor Force. Yeah. Blood Bowl, nope. And then Warhammer Quest, which is the Blackstone Fortress. Yeah. So there's no 40k standalone type stuff. Unlike Age of Sigmar, which has 2, Underworlds and Warcry. Which is interesting. Because I think that's an opportunity there. For, creating some one-offs. Games Workshop seems to be really about making these one-off type things. It seems to be probably where they're probably seeing a lot of revenue, right? In these Warcry and Underworlds kits. People are buying them because they're unique models. Sure, you can play a game with them if you want. Cost of entry to the game system is not that high. And of course, it does lead people into getting more models, more gangs. And then, of course, getting into the larger game, which is the Age of Sigmar, right? So, it's a good draw. It's a good draw. 40k should do the same thing. Well, they kind of do with Kill Team. But Kill Team should have unique models. You should have little gangs. Eldar gang, Tyranid gang, Orc gang, Space Marine gang. You know what I mean? Like all these different things that are available. They should have unique sculpts for them. And that'd be a fun opportunity, I think, for Games Workshop to, kind of expand on different lines, introduce different kind of characters, especially for anybody who likes to do campaigns, right? And you get even Space Marines, right? You're running a Space Marine army in a campaign, and yet you could use, say, the Kill Team model from your gang leader, and use him as a character in your army, and it tell the story of that character, right? The commander's rise to whatever, right? Whatever story you want to tell. Usually it's the rise, the promotion, of whatever, right? It's pretty bland, actually. You really don't get a lot of love stories being told in Warhammer 40,000. I'm not sure why. But it is something I do notice. Aspire. I should clarify there are rules for fielding Blackstone models or characters in Kill Team. Yeah, well, on the app, you can the Blackstone Fortress models. Yeah, they have 40k entries, or are they Kill Team entries? I thought it was 40k entries. But anyway, yeah. Rust Sandbags, would Necromunda count? Yeah, it counts because, like I said, you could take those Necromunda gangs and bring them into 40k, right? You could buy gangs of Orlocks and what have yous, and then put them into an Imperial Guard army. Why not, right? Just flavor. It's just flavor. I wonder how expensive that would be. Would that be really expensive to do? A bunch of Necromunda gangs and have them as your Imperial Guard force? Could you imagine, though? That'd be pretty cool. Like a Vansar conscript gang. Do Vansars as conscripts. That'd be pretty cool. A Vansar army. And then imagine all the Leman Russes and everything like that had a Vansar look to them. That'd actually be pretty cool. Okay, I want to see that now. Somebody make that. Go. Now. Go. Bone Ripper. Rogue Trader expansion for Kill Team. Like a Rogue Trader? Yeah. That'd be cool. Be very fitting. Jeffers. I really don't like these specialist games. You get 2 armies at the start, then is dragged out drip of models, armies. It kills the hype for the game. Yeah. 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 It does. It does. It does kill the hype. It is a hype killer. It's a bit of a boner killer, to be sure. Malev. Oh, somebody. Dark Harbor Gaming. Rated with 7 viewers. Well, welcome, Dark Harbor. And welcome. Welcome, everybody on the stream. Hopefully you guys were having fun on your stream. I'm just sitting here talking craziness and crap. Crazy crap. No, actually, I'm talking about basically... Okay, here's the current point where we're at in this conversation. What time are we at here? Holy camelies. Age of Sigmar has Underworlds and Warcry. Unique models are made for those 2 offshoots, right? But those could still be incorporated into the larger whole of Age of Sigmar. Warhammer 40,000, even though being the older, more dominant game, has Kill Team, no models, Necromunda, gangs, humans, and Blackstone Fortress, which can get, sprinkled here and there. And so, I think Games Workshop should shift towards creating more one-offs within kill teams and stuff like that. Still things that can get sprinkled out through Warhammer 40,000. I think that'd be really cool. I think that would really satisfy. Like if they came out with like an Eldar gang, yeah, I could see a lot of people going, oh yeah, look at this Guardian, look at this Dire Avenger, he's a nice pose. Holy carmolies. Thank you, Furry Sasquatch. Sam Squanch? He's a goddamn Sam Squanch. Anyway, sorry, that's a Bubbles impression for anybody who didn't know. Anybody who watched Trailer Park Boys, you'll get that. Everybody else is like, what the hell? Oh, thank you for following, Dark Harbor. Thank you. Malev. Ninja Stars. You got Ninja Stars. I don't got Ninja Stars. So yeah, it'd be really cool if they did that and like they had an Eldar gang, and then you could also like sprinkle it out through your Eldar army, and it also might sustain some folk who are waiting for these updates to their armies and looking forward to new models, and it can kind of just get people interested in, and to and of course maybe they're counting on people falling out of interest of their grander armies, like if they collect a huge Necron army or Tyranid army, they're waiting for updates. I say, fuck it, I'll just get Space Marines then, and they just end up buying more Space Marines, and then of course that just keeps perpetuating the whole Space Marine thing, right? So yeah, it's a dangerous cycle you fall into. It's a dangerous cycle. Fire Drake 18. I really hate piecemeal codexes. It's really hard to watch battle reports when one army gets a new codex and the other's still waiting. Yeah, it's not as bad though as it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you waited, like you got a codex like once a year. So, at least it's not like that. Jeffers, I remember when the armies were in 5th edition rulebook, so everyone could play with fresh rules. Yeah. Malev, don't forget about us Twitch babies. Hey man, hey Malev. Voices of Mars, what do you think about the entry cost of specialist box games? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the costs. I mean, people talk about, well, this is too much, that's too little, that's too much, and that's not worth that. Value, like a lot of things in this world, are entirely subjective. Value is subjective. If you don't want to pay $500 for a box set, then don't pay it. Right? It's not worth it. For you. But if somebody who has the means and says $500 for all this stuff, yeah, I'll pay that every time. Right? Completely different set of ideas of value. So, those were kind of, ideas that, and Games Workshop, they charge what they know people will pay. And I'm sure it's probably, I'm willing to pay this. I'd probably go a little bit higher, but I definitely wouldn't pay this. And then Games Workshop goes, okay, well, we'll just below the, it's getting a little pricey. You know what I mean? They keep it at that, it's getting kind of pricey. So, yeah. Malev, chatting. Always chatting. Malev, in your chats. You're in both chats. You're omnipresent. Malev, I really like that effect. Yeah. What? Oh, like having like 40k gang like things for kill team and separate sculpts. Yeah, I think. I mean, again, it would open up the designers in Warhammer 40,000, because I'm sure there's probably two camps. Got people designing for Age of Sigmar and people designing for 40k. I don't know if there's much cross-pollination or if it's even the same teams. I have no idea how that all works. It's speculative. But it definitely seems like the people over on the Age of Sigmar side of things are having a lot more fun. And there's 3 big game systems, well, I don't know how big, but game systems that they can sculpt for, right? Warcry, Underworlds, and the core, Age of Sigmar, right? There's 3 things they can sculpt for. What do the guys over on the 40k side of things, what do they got? 40k. Space Marines. Well, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, well, no wonder why people are moving towards the Age of Sigmar side of things, because it's got a lot more fun things going on. It's got a lot more craziness. And Age of Sigmar, that game can go anywhere. The universe, the lore, everything, the visual aesthetics of it all can go anywhere. It can go anywhere. It's free to go anywhere. 40K. You even 40K, you can't introduce flying fish people. You can't introduce mountain goats, right? Or bulls, mountain bulls, whatever they are, right? You can't do that. It's crazy. It's a chaos faction. You know what I mean? Like, people's vision of these things is very narrow and limited, and that's unfortunate. Age of Sigmar, sky's the horizon. Sky's the horizon. Sky's the limit. Fuck, I can't even speak English. Right? 40K, very narrow. No, can't go. It can't go here, can't go there, because then people resist it, right? And so, really, the problem with Warhammer 40,000 is the community. The community is terrible. They're terrible, terrible people. I think that's the problem. The problem is the community. My love, I'd not mind some Warhammer Underworld style 40K sculpts and squads. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I get excited just thinking about it. Kill team. Imagine like an Eldar kill team, a Necron kill team, right? But completely different original looking sculpts. Just completely different. Just outside the norm. Extra details. Fun little things. Telling a story on the model, right? Would be totally awesome. Furry Sasquatch. You are welcome. It's a ham and cheese Sam Squanch. It's a goddamn Sam Squanch. My love, I got the full kit, my man. The full kit. The full kit? Good? I don't know what we're talking about. Jeffers, there was a Kimura game where you played Dark Elder game. Yeah, it was but it was like, those were standard parts. All the box sets that have come out, like there was the one with the flyers, right? It had the Chaos Flyer thingy and the Space Marine flying thing. They're just reboxes of other kits. That's it. It's not like their original sculpts. It's not like Necromunda where it's all original sculpts. It's not like, well, I mean, you have Aeronautica, which is different scale. It's 40K universe stuff, but you can't bring that over. Well, you could, but it'd be weird. Into 40K. Titanicus, 40K universe, different scale, can't be imported over to the main game. Whereas Age of Sigmar, yeah, you have Underworlds, Warcry, right? Core game. And they all can feed each other, right? Something that's happening in the greater universe of Age of Sigmar can feed the Underworld stuff, which can feed the Warcry, which can feed Age of Sigmar, right? And it all is the circle of life Simba. 40K, not so much, right? Because Aeronautica, well, it's about planes. And where are my damn Eldar planes already? Like, come on, Games Workshop. Where's my Eldar planes? God, making me wait forever. God. So anyway, yeah. I think that a lot of Games Workshop's energy is in Age of Sigmar. Their creativity is definitely in the Age of Sigmar stuff. The creativity is there. Because the 40K stuff, fucking Space Marines, come on, give me a fucking break. Space Marines? Ugh, I'm so tired of Space Marines. So tired of Space Marines. So tired of them. Bland. Boring. And they're all painted the same. All painted the same. It's just boring ass boring. Boring. Anyway, Russ Sandbags, have you seen the old Horus Heresy board game? The scale is weird, but it's a pretty massive game. Is Battlefleet Gothic a sub game of 40K? Yes, it is. Battlefleet Gothic. Right. That's a game that's, it's old now. It's not it's discontinued. I'm sure Games Workshop will probably, look to revitalize it at some point. Maybe. I don't know. I fear, though, if they were to do a reboot of Battlefleet Gothic, it'd be like that damn Dreadfleet box. Remember Dreadfleet? It was just like a one-off box with a bunch of different ships, which, to my understanding, failed spectacularly. And I'd hate to see a Battlefleet Gothic box whatever they would call it, right? And it has like a Space Marine ship, an Eldar ship, an Orc ship, a Tyranid ship, and you know what I mean? Like it was just one off of everybody's ship, and everybody's flying around, and you know what I mean? Like, it'd be boring. Just give us an updated, Battlefleet Gothic. Change the scale. Give us plastic models, completely plastic models, right? I've talked about it in the past about what I would love to see from a updated Battlefleet Gothic, and yeah, definitely. But yeah, I love Battlefleet Gothic. Battlefleet Gothic was a lot of fun. Same with Epic. Like, they should just bring Epic back, because then you can incorporate the Titanicus stuff and the Aeronautica stuff into, it can funnel into Epic, right? It's the same kind of thing, right? Because if you make stuff for Aeronautica, where you just want to have airplanes flying around shooting at each other, great. But if you want to incorporate them into the larger 40K universe, well, they can go into the Epic scale stuff, right? And be part of Epic. Titans. You want to have just Titans clobbering each other? Great. But give us the Imperium, give us the Orcs, give us the Eldar, Tyranids, everybody, right? Give us all those Titans and all that stuff. And of course, if you want to play as a greater whole of the 40K universe and play with infantry and stuff like that, swing back over to Epic. And then, of course, you can create new stuff for Aeronautica, but then you can incorporate it into Epic. New stuff for Titanics, but then incorporate it. Create new stuff for Epic, which can be played in either the game, right? Like, again, it's the whole circle of life, Simba. Seems pretty simple to me. Time we at here? Holy cramolas, we got 17 minutes left. Roman Matinoff. People, what a bunch of bastards. Takes a sip from mug. I know. Bunch of bastards. Like I said, I think the biggest problem with Warhammer 40,000 is the community. Bunch of bastards. All the 40K people out there are like, hey, fuck this guy. Fire Drink 18. You can't even have dwarves in 40K. I did think they were going to introduce new ranges if 40K through Kill Team. Yeah, I know. And see, again, that's a great one. That's a great idea. Having the dwarves be part of Kill Team. They don't have to be introduced so much into 40K, but they could maybe be used as auxiliaries within an Imperial Guard army or a Chaos army or, whatever, right? Whatever your heart's content. And, yeah, I think for Games Workshop to regarner interest in Warhammer 40,000, I think that's where they got to go. They got to go. And I think maybe that's why they've adopted this stance where they want more support for the tournament scene, right? And maybe that's where they want to go with it. Age of Sigmar, not so much. But 40K, yeah, they're all in on the... Yeah, no, 40K is for tournaments. 40K is tournament game. It's a competitive game. It's competitive. It's lots of chest hair, right? It's all chest hair. It's all chest hair on the 40K side of things. It's all artsy-fartsy on the Age of Sigmar side of things, but it's chest hair on the 40K side of things. Again, it's community. Community's fucking ruining the game. You're all the worst. Everybody who loves 40K, you're the worst. You're the worst. You're the worst kind of humans. David Brunfeld. Should GW create a new world, something along a more modern period or near future? Steampunk, which I hate, but would be fun to paint it more modern looking. Like for 40K? Should they create a new world in 40K? No. Age of Sigmar, they can create whatever worlds they want. You can create, well, like the dwarves, the overlords. They're steampunk, right? I mean, you can have whatever aesthetic you want in Age of Sigmar. You can have crazy, Art Deco type sci-fi elephants. You can have elephants. You can have whatever in Age of Sigmar. The sky is the limit. As far like your imagination, as far as you can imagine it, they can make it happen, right? Whereas 40K, very, very limited. It's very limited. It's kind of like painting themselves into a corner, right? They've painted themselves into a corner with Warhammer 40K. Maybe the only way out is to kill it. Maybe they should have pulled the plug back on 8th edition, right? just like they did with fantasy. Maybe they should have did it with 40K. I think that scared them though. Russ Sandbags, do you think they would ever do an end times for 40K? Do I think they would? I don't know. Should they? To keep continuity, I suppose. And I think that's what Dark Imperium and Indominus, like the way they've been breaking the story down, and of course with the whole triumvirates and all that, it kind of felt like that's the route they were gonna go, was, you know, this kind of end times kind of thing, right? Because now, like in the greater whole of 40K lore, the Imperium is currently divided, right? There's a Dark Imperium and a Light Imperium, and you know, it's kind of piecemeal as far as, you know, moving the story forward and, you know, wanting to breathe new life into the game, right? It's a tricky thing. I mean, like, you know, I'm not there at those meetings, you know, and where ideas, how ideas are going forward, right? So, I mean, like, I have no idea. And I mean, like, from my end, this is 100% speculative. So, you know, it's just what I see. That's how I form my opinions, which is how you all form your opinions, right? I mean, you know, you see things and you interpret it and go, oh, okay, well, yeah, last time when this happened, there is a correlation between their actions and this, and you know what I mean? Like, you know, how one logics out how things happen. That's just how it goes. Anyway. Jeffers, Age of Sigmar needs the love after chucking out fantasy. It needs a lot of development and build up new heroes and lore. 40K is stagnant. I would love another War of Armageddon. Great campaign. Sure. Age of Sigmar, like checking out the fantasy, I think that was the best move. That was the best move. Dump it. I mean, it's the source material, sure. But don't be precious about it, right? Let's say with 40K, we are all so precious. Even me, we're all so precious about the lore. Even some of us who are not that big into the lore, right? Some of us who don't read all the novels or, you know, read every codex or, you know what I mean? Like, but we've got a very good understanding of where things stand within the greater whole of the universe is concerned in Warhammer 40,000. Yet we're all still very precious about it all, you know? And I don't know, maybe it's just, again, it kind of comes down to the over-quoted, if you truly love something, you can let it go, right? So if we truly love Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer Fantasy, if we truly loved it, then we can let it go. And maybe that's, again though, that's a community thing. So again, the biggest problem with Warhammer 40,000 is the community. So again, yeah, to reiterate, you're all the problem. This episode should have been called the Feel Good episode. I came here, get some painting tips, and listen to Kris berate me about being a nerd. Sean Clark. Hey Kris, was checking out your old tutorials on MWG last night. Hit me right in the nostalgias when I was learning to paint my Dark Elves fantasy army. Hope you're doing well, bud. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, check out those painting tutorials. I mean, like, for anybody who still, has subscriptions to Mini Wargaming and stuff like that, I mean, you know, you have a great resource there. Over 1,000 quick tips. And I don't even know how many painting tutorials. I have no idea how many painting tutorials there are in there. Not just mine. I mean, there was also Austin, Death Ray Designs, Janine. She did the how-to series. Les Bursley did a couple quick series in there. Really good true metallic ones in there. Somebody else. Well, of course, then Mike Cousins, Epic Duck Mike, he really kind of got the ball rolling. Whoa, jeez Louise. Altered Man Art. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. The follow. Yeah, Mike Cousins, Epic Duck Mike. He got the ball rolling as far as, how tutorials were done for mini wargaming, because basically, when I started with mini wargaming, it was basically how Mike had started doing them, right? And pretty much I just kind of took that ball from there and then, ran with it. I think that's pretty much it as far as painting tutorials are concerned. I don't know. There's a bunch in there anyway. But yeah, you definitely, if you still have access to that library, and it is a library, make use of it. Make use of it. If you still have access to it. I don't know who still does it. I don't see them ever promoting anything as far as painting's concerned. I actually really haven't seen a lot of anything innovative from MWG in a long time, so especially not since I left. But anyway. Jeffers, 40k needs a huge shift. Fall of the Imperium, death to the Emperor, Abaddon wins, Eldar extinction. Yeah. I mean, they can't quite do a Age of Sigmar type of facelift to the game because it's already been done, right? Oh, the universe explodes. Oh, now Warhammer 40,000 is just like Age of Sigmar, except it's, space marines, and they're not Eldar, they're Eldari, and it's I mean, like it would be kind of just Age of Sigmar, right? And so yeah, it is kind of a tough act to follow, especially when obviously Age of Sigmar had such a rough start, and I'm sure they don't want to emulate that rough start for a new start for Warhammer 40,000. But I don't know. Again, I'm not privy to those meetings, so I have no idea. Maybe they are. Maybe they're going to do it. Maybe they're going to pull the pin. This is going to be this whole big thing. They're going to pull the pin, destroy Warhammer 40,000, and, it's going to become just Warhammer. I have no idea. That actually would make sense. If they destroyed Warhammer 40,000 and it just became Warhammer, that somehow makes sense to me from a branding standpoint. Fire Dricatine, I think it's time for 50k. 50k? Well, why not why not 40k million? Yeah. Raid Shovel 1 billion. Yeah, exactly. Like, it just, like, what's the limit? 50k, 100k, yeah. Jeffers, Kris didn't get the memo from the meeting. Yeah, I didn't get the memo. Again, I'm not privy to these things, right? Fire Trek 18, a prequel, 10k. Yeah, the 10k prequel. Yeah. Dark Commission, Neanderthal Marines versus Dark Cro-Magnon. Actually, you could have that kind of board game anyway. I don't know about Neanderthal Marines, but like Neanderthals versus Cro-Magnons, And it's kind of interesting how, and it tells you a lot about people, humanity, our ideas. To veer the subject off just slightly, because that's an interesting thing that Dark Commission's pointing out, that the Neanderthal, that they just died out, right? Cro-Magnon just died out. And we always assume, it was either starvation or it was, Homo sapien coming along and wiped them all out. They just wiped them all out. And to me, that kind of thinking that that's what happens speaks more of the current generation and the person's making that sentiment rather than what would make more sense. What makes more sense as to why Cro-Magnons, Neanderthals, whatever's, gave way to Homo sapiens. What makes more sense is that they were just kind of gone extinct. The bloodlines went extinct through intermarrying. That makes more sense to me. Through intermarrying, they just kind of, the traits that were distinct for that particular group just go away as you get more marrying, people moving around, and you know what I mean? Like, it just makes more sense. The idea that it was a bunch of Cro-Magnon men and Neanderthals, and they all had their spears and the rocks and everything, and they're going to go to battle, and it's like Lord of the Rings, and these big lines are clashing, and you know what I mean? Like, that kind of notion, that speaks volumes about the person bringing that idea forward, the culture that kind of represents, the idea that, yeah, that makes total sense to me. Yeah, the Cro-Magnons wiped the Neanderthals out. It was a big battle. They fought in the Himalayas, and, what makes more sense is that more than likely, through intermarrying and through years and years and years and years, the bloodline just disappeared, was incorporated into the other. And then, of course, both evolve, right? That makes more sense to me. The idea that the only way that these bloodlines die out is because of genocide, that speaks more to that other side of thinking. David Brunfell, Fire Drake, I like your idea of a prequel. 10K. Fire Drake, I'm the problem. Although it's been 5 years since I've actually played a 40K game. Yeah, it's been about almost 2 years for me. Yeah, it's been a while. Has it really been that long? Yeah, well, this year has been, 2020 was a complete write-off, right? But, yeah. Anyway. Altered Man Art. Nice convo. Thank you. Just talk about craziness. That's all this show is, bud. It's just craziness. Me just spouting off ideas, and of course, occasionally answering questions and, things like that. Holy moly, we got 3 minutes left of the show. Do I have an email? I thought I had an email pop in. I do have an email. Mr. Coven Cabal. Excuse me. Sorry if that was really loud for everybody. Darren Croman. Think the last vehicle update for Eldar was the turret redo for the Fire Prism. Yeah, that's it. That chassis is really old, right? The Wave Serpent and the Fire Prism Night Spinner, right? And realistically, like the Falcon Grav Tank chassis, that's kind of like the old Rhino chassis. So like there was a lot of variants built onto a Rhino, right? It was Predators, Whirlwinds, Razorbacks, and you know what I mean? And so Falcon Grav Tank was Falcon Grav Tank, Wave Serpent, Fire Prism, Night Spinner, right? Firestorm, right? And I've always, because of those parallels, I've always equated the Falcon Grav Tank to being like a Rhino chassis. And I've always wanted to see an Eldar version of a Land Raider. Now, a Lynx is kind of that category of Land Raider. It's a battle tank, right? And, I just would like to, because oftentimes there were so many parallels between Eldar and Space Marines, because the two are kind of similar in that regards, yet very opposite, right? Space Marines are very sturdy army, very tanky. Eldar, very shooty, but very fragile, very maneuverable, right? Those used to be very different play styles. And now Space Marines can do everything. They can play Horde, they can play fast, they can play armor, they can play, you know what I mean? Like, Space Marines have it all. And so why even play other armies? Why not just play Space Marines, right? And again, that's another reason to blow up the Warhammer 40K universe, right? That's another reason, because it's all the same. Boring. Boring. I'm going to fall asleep just thinking about it, So, yeah. But anyway. Where am I? Jeffers, bring in Men of Iron for 40K. Yeah, that'd be fun. I think that would be another opportunity, though, for like a box game, like a board game. The War of the Iron Men. I would like to see that. Reese Taylor, yeah, it's just battle reports on MWG now. When you and Lee left, glad you're still making videos. Always preferred your vids, painting tutorials, and hobby stuff. Well, thank you, Reese. Yeah, well, I still do what I do. And of course, a big thank you to all my patrons, because that's how I am able to continue to do what I do. If I had to go find a regular type job, I probably wouldn't do tutorials, because I'd be working my regular type job and living my life. And, I really wouldn't be concerned with helping you guys, really. I'd be doing my thing. I'd occasionally maybe post some stuff of what I was doing, but otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't bother. But because this is, how to make a living, or how I make a living, yeah, I'm going to continue to inform. And as long as you guys continue to support, I'll continue to inform. Dark Commission. My big idea that'll never happen. Hindu texts like, I'm not going to say that, has everything for a great game, including flying machines, war animals, huge armies, etc., all dressed in Indian dress, would be superb. And gods. Yeah, sure. North America has a similar thing too. We have stories of, well, they call them the ant people who lived underground, and also there was people who rode wings of leather in the air. These are stories of actual people. So, yeah. People who knew how to fly thousands of years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy. Lord Krabby, ramen, delish, like a real ramen. Jeffers, everyone's getting battle suits now to copy the Tau and Dread Knight. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, exactly. Space Marines get battle suits. Right? Now Sisters of Battle get battle suits. Everybody gets battle suits now. Space Marine within a Space Marine, sister within a sister. I mean, like, where does it fucking end? Oh, they got the battle suits. Because the biggest tragedy within Warhammer 40,000, at least in the early days, because it was the dark age of technology, it was a tragedy that humans encountered the Eldar and all these other advanced races that humans couldn't realistically compete with. And the only thing that allowed the Imperium to exist was the vast sheer numbers of humans. And Space Marine, well, technically there's not even supposed to be that many Space Marines. There's supposed to be only, in Warhammer 40,000, there's only supposed to be 1,000 Space Marines, and every chapter is only supposed to be 1,000 strong. Okay? That's not really a viable galactic fighting militia at all. Like, that's too darn small for maintaining a galactic empire. You need the Imperial Guard. Really, I've said this many times, Warhammer 40,000 really should be about the Imperial Guard fighting off the enemies of the Imperium, right? And Space Marines being more like the heroes. Yet Space Marines aren't the heroes. And even within the stories, again, in Warhammer 40,000, people don't go out in heroic fashion. They don't go out dying to save a planet of people. Because the Inquisitors just bomb the world. Oh, chaos infestation? Oh, all the people, the small group, a community of people have fallen into chaos. Nuke the planet. Right? And it's like, there's such a disconnect between humanity. And that's why Warhammer 40,000, there are no good guys, right? And it's not a universe that you should look at and go, yeah, I want to live there. It should be a universe you go, oh, this is such terrible. And everything is so tragic. And, and it's just, it really is kind of a downer, Warhammer 40,000. It used to be. Now I see Disney Space Marines walking around. So, yeah. Oh, man. Where the hell am I? Jeffers, the Primarchs gave them a chance on the grand scale as the Emperor couldn't be everywhere at once. Sure. Fire Trick 18. Then everything will be page 13. I'll take it back. That would be the worst episode of The Twilight Zone. Dark Commission. Disney is way too woke for that. Imagine all the diversity and third wave feminists, sisters, etc. They'd kill it dead. I don't know. I don't think so. And the idea of the forced diversity stuff being an issue, the only time that's an issue is when you view it through the lens that it can't be that way. So, for example, if I said, well, Space Marines can't be women. Well, in the lore, sure, that definitely supports it, but, I mean, the lore can be rewritten, and if it is rewritten, so what? You know what I mean? Like, again, it's all about being very precious about it, and people within Warhammer 40,000 are very precious about this stuff for some strange reason. And again, the community is the problem. Warhammer 40,000 community is the problem for Warhammer. And yeah, I mean, like the idea of female Space Marines. I mean, okay, big whoop, female Space Marines. Now, if the female Space Marines are overly sexualized, kind of like how Sisters of Battle pretty much are, where they're wearing like corsets, everything tapers in to accentuate obviously the hips and breasts, and obviously they have to portray a very feminine quality, right? And that again just doesn't feel very like, if you want to be realistic about it, if it's a stylistic approach, then everything else can be very stylistic, and it's not realistic, and it's not realism you're after, right? Because if you're okay with that, then everything else that follows is fine. So, yeah. No. I don't agree with the whole idea of the forced diversity thing. That just, again, says more about the person making those statements. Hail Bop, heyo, heyo. Reese Taylor, what about Pleasure Worlds, though, Kris? And 40K, Silver Lining, I guess. Pleasure Worlds? Sure, I imagine there's billions and billions of Pleasure Worlds, right? In Warhammer 40,000 universe. Because there's billions and billions of worlds with billions and billions of people on them. Humans, we're talking. And, you know, the length of time it takes for travel between star systems, you know, every solar system that has humans in it, to a large population, has to be prepared to defend itself. They have to be, right? Because the length of time it takes to get any kind of help from another star system. So everybody, you know what I mean? But like, so the Imperium realistically would not work. It would grind to a halt. It would grind to a halt because of the bureaucracy needed if there are centralized points of authority, right? If there's a hierarchy, it just can't work. It would grind itself to a pulp, and it would fail. Every nation state within a solar system would be independent, and then of course you're just back to craziness. At that point, there's no order. At that point, there's no Imperium. It's just a name. But again, I mean, that's if we're thinking logically about this kind of stuff. Reese Taylor, what about Pleasure? Oh no, Jeffers. Disney are doing Deadpool 3 18 rated. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting that they're going to go forward with an 18 rated Deadpool. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm hoping that Disney, at least, you know, is learning that they need to stay out of the way of their creatives and let their creatives create. I'm hoping that the committees that oversee the money, see, anytime you have people with, you know, the bank who are in control of the bank account, they often think that they are the ones in charge of said project. And after a fashion, I suppose they are. But if they want to make money off the product and let those original ideas flow, whether they succeed or fail, because a failure is not really a failure. Right? It's a learning opportunity to not maybe do that, right? And so the next time you do it, okay, well, we'll do it something like that, but we're not going to do this, and you know, we'll see how it goes. And next thing you know, you have a franchise, right? And they get better and better, and they, you know, and that's why Marvel has dominated theaters and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's, you know, it's just kind of how it goes. And Mandalorian is a great example of just stay out of the way of the creatives. Let the creatives create. And, you know, let them play within the source material. And, you know, I hate when you have a lot of committees having a say within things. And yeah, there are moments where, yeah, these feel like committee decisions where, you know, it feels like placating to a particular group. You know, and yeah, and they often will fail spectacularly because they often feel contrived and, you know, deliberate and, you know, placating to a particular demographic, right? So, no. Stay true to the source material. Always stay true to the source material and create and tell a fun story, because a good story, regardless of whatever politics, you know, you want to associate it with, you know, a good story is a good story, you know. But anyway, Carts. After a year, I finally got to watch the live stream again. Well, welcome, Carts. Carters. All right. Holy crap, we're 10 minutes OT, and I was doing almost a Tarzan thing there. I am going to do an email. If you're wearing headphones, turn them up or down, but here it comes. email time. this is from our good buddy Kevin Cabal. Hello, Kris and my fellow monkeys. Here are a few minis I've been working on. The first 6 of 20 Imperial Guard based on a mobile infantry from Starship Troopers. They are given a Zenithal Prime with an airbrush using Vallejo Surface Primer. The uniforms were given a wash of 5:1 contrast medium to Magos Purple. Is it Magos or Magos? Anyway, the belt kit and rifle were painted with Creed camo, detailed with Stormhost silver, washed with Basilicum gray. The armor is Corvus black, highlighted with Administratum gray. Skin is Cadian flesh tone, washed with Guilliman flesh. I went with non-standard decals for their pauldrons since Fagoo. Must be getting late because I'm finding that absolutely hilarious. Anyway, since I figure they are special forces type of team, so the usual rules don't apply. The rifles should be black to match Starship Troopers, but I went with green for Cadia. Let me know what you think. Cheers. Kevin Cabal. Oh, so he's doing a Zenithal. A Zenithal pre-shade. So basically, for those of you who are not familiar with the Zenithal, it's basically a black prime, and then you spray a white straight down. Of course, you can always come in with a light gray at a 45, fill out those shapes, and then come in with the white and spray it from the top, which is often the way I like to do it. I like a black, and then a gray, and then a white at the very top. Anyway, very effective, very cool. And some Cadians. Some straight up oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. We've seen this. I do like the dark green. I like that it has that variation of color. Again, I mean, the inspiration should serve its purpose, but not have to rely so strictly upon it. And I think you're doing that fairly well here. I like that it's a dark gun. In fact, you could have probably also went with a black on the gun and then just did a very light edge of a darker green. But I guess you're keeping it simple, right, with the contrast? Because when you're doing with contrast painting, right, it's just very, very straightforward. Yeah. Are you deliberately re-edging the edges of the armor? Or is that the way the contrast fell? Because realistically, with contrast, to do them and get like an efficient amount of these guys done, I would not start with a black prime. I would start with a gray and do the white. Don't go so dark. Because you end up with these really dark tones. And then you could also, because if you keep it fairly light, you can also use Guilliman flesh right out of the bottle for the flesh areas without having to rely on a base of Cadian flesh and then doing Guilliman flesh, right? Because Guilliman flesh contrast is a 2-in-1. It gives you that flesh tone with the shadows. And it gives you something that looks like Cadian flesh tone, or Cadian flesh, the paint, with a wash of Reikland flesh shade on top. It's a 2-in-1. Think like contrast, working with contrast paints, it's always like that. It's a 2-in-1. It gives you the base color with the shadow. Sometimes, if you're lucky, it gives you the highlight as well. And yeah. But yeah, when doing the pre-shade, especially if I'm going to do just contrast paints, yeah, don't go all the way to a black. I would go just to a mid-tone gray, and if you really want to make it really punchy, then maybe it's slightly darker than mid-tone. Go darker than a mid-tone, but don't go further than a gray. Mid-tone gray is actually pretty dark for contrast. If you look at the... is this the last picture? This is the last picture. If you look at the hue of Grey Seer and Wraithbone, they are... very, very light. Yeah, that was the last one. Okay. Well, thank you, Kevin Cabal, for sending that in. Awesome stuff. And yeah. Sorry, I'm just clicking through my things. I guess I could do it later, but anyway. Yeah, just go with that mid-tone. You lay the color on, because then you can save yourself time, because if you go really dark, especially when going with really dark and then laying just a white on top, you get this really funny color, especially with some of the warmer tones, where basically that color mixture where that gives you that kind of gray, it shifts towards kind of a blue. Your eye perceives, especially if the color, like say for example, like snakebite leather, which has a fair amount of a yellow in it, and you lay that on top of the gray, and especially if it's kind of like pushing towards a darker gray, it gives you almost those blue tones. And so what you end up perceiving is a bit of a green. And that you just see that it's just colors on top of each other, but that's because how light plays through, these objects, right? But you see a slight green hue, and that's what I see often on flesh tones, which is why when you're doing warmer tones, that's why they often would recommend using Wraithbone, because it's an off-white. It's got more of that brown quality in it. It's a yellowy brown, right? It looks a bit more like what is it? Like Ushabti Bone or Screaming Skull, where it's off-white, but it's got a warmer quality to it. That's why. And then that's why the Gray Seer has more of a blue quality to it, and it works really well. And contrast, when it pools up, yeah, it gets really, really dark in the recesses. So going really dark in your shadows is not really that necessary, especially if you're going to primarily work within contrast, But, again, entirely up to you. It's me, Seppi. Sup, buds? Sup? Dark Commission. What was the water effect you used for the Rodigus model base? I want to use water effects on a small base and don't want to buy resins. I use... do I have it here? I don't have my bottle. Anyway, I use Liquitex Heavy Gel Medium to create the water, to create the texture and create the waves and everything like that. Yeah. Oi, jeez Louise. What was that?
He'll leave this in here for no apparent reason. Cold sweat smile.
Cold sweat smile. Well, thank you. Leonid Lopez, thank you for the super chat. Awesome stuff. I'll just leave this here for no apparent reason. Cold sweat smiley face. I like the way the voice read that. Cold sweat smiley face. So yeah, that's what I use for the water effects. I did it for like the wolf that we did for the patron paint along. I did it for the wolf, Rodigus, for the bubbling boils or whatever that was. Those were just balled up green stuff, chopped in half, and then just glued down. And then yeah, I used also Future Floor Shine to lay out the smoothness first, and then I use the gloss gel, and that just marries right up next to it, and it looks really good. But yeah, it's Liquitex Heavy Gel Medium, and that's what I use for that. Fire Drinker Team, gotta go. Great show. Later, monkeys. Later, duder. Thank you, Leonid Lopez. Thank you for the super chat, dude. It's me, Seppi. Cold sweat smile. Cold sweat smile. Holy Camolies, we're 20 minutes OT. Dark Commission, cheers. Awesome. Thank you. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you have any questions, feel free to always ask them. Of course, now this is the end of the show, so send me an email, Kris@wayofthebrush. If you're going to send pictures, send them as attachments in the email. Don't send them off as links to other sites, because it just won't do it. It's annoying, often because there's ads and other crap running on those sites. But anyway, just send them as attachments in the email. Huge thank you. Of course, you can always ask whatever you want, or show off what you're working on. Maybe a commission painting service, you want to show off what you're working on, or you want to drum some extra exposure, or whatever. And of course, also the other one is using the hashtag #WayOfTheBrush on Instagram. I do try to keep up with, showing off those and, offering any advice or thoughts or anything like that. It's just a fun way of engaging with you guys. So yeah, keep using that hashtag Way of the Brush, and I will continue to show off your works on there. Especially for some of you that don't feel like doing the whole email trip, right? Just use the hashtag Way of the Brush, and I'll see it. I'll see it at some point. Might not be right away, but I will see it. I'm not on my phone all the time. In fact, like yesterday, I left my phone down here, and I didn't have it all day, almost the whole night. I was like, oh crap, it was like 11 o'clock. I was about to go to bed, and I was like, oh, I don't even have my phone. Where's my phone? So yeah, I don't keep my phone on me all the time. So somebody who's messaging me on Discord or whatever, sometimes I don't get it right away because I don't have my phone. I'm not attached to my phone. I'm one of those guys who actively puts the phone away and doesn't look at it. I try really hard. Some days, yeah, I'm on my phone all the time, but I'm like, oh, I gotta get the hell off this thing. Yeah, you should try it yourself. You might find you might be a little bit more happier. You might even be a little bit more productive. Give it a shot. Never know. You never know what happens. Just try. Don't be afraid. Ruben Matinoff, good show. Cheers, everyone. Cheerio. Cheerio. Cheerio, Ruben. Yeah, so, huge thank you, everybody. Waythebrush.com. It's in the description below. Check it out. Got all the social medias. Discord. T-shirts. Get yourself a t-shirt. Look connoisseur. All holy. Everything. Yeah. Send a pic. I'm just kind of skipping over every other word. Huge thank you to my patrons. Without your support, this channel wouldn't continue on. So huge thank you to everybody who does. And if you're considering Patreon support, there are varying tiers of support, and there are also some perks associated with those tiers. So a huge thank you to everybody. And if you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, thumbing up the video, liking, following, subscribing, sharing, ringing the bell, and all that other rigmarole helps as well. And all it takes is a couple clicks of a button, and you're helping me out a great deal. And so, yeah, to appease the algorithm god, essentially, that's what it is. It's all to appease our gods. We're going to go down another turn here. Huge thank you to Carl, a.k.a. Guymere Alfer, a.k.a. Beer and Blood Bowl. It's his YouTube channel. Check him out if you love yourself some beer, you love yourself some Blood Bowl. Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take the time to thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time to create the email jingles that play before the email segment of the show. And so always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother, Evan, for creating the intro, outro music that plays at the begin and end of the show. So always much love to my baby bro, Evan. And if you're into rare comics, EB Comics, he's got your hookup. He's got the hookup on the rare comics. Check him out, EB Comics. It's in the description. In the description? Do people even check the description? I don't even know. I don't even know. Anywho, huge thank you to my baby bro. Also, if you're into music, I should actually talk to him about making some music. Yeah, maybe. Seeing as I haven't talked to him in a couple days. Leonid Lopez. I haven't left the house in over a year now. It's incredible how much I got attached to my phone in this time since I don't have contact with nobody. Yeah, I don't honestly, like, yeah. I find that the days where I'm on my phone a lot, my productivity is like way down. And so I actively put my phone away, because yeah, I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, man. I mean, like, I can't disappoint my patrons, right? And that's pretty much who I'm trying to impress, appease, make happy, please. I don't know. One of the two. One of those words. That's what I'm doing. That's really, who I'm working for is my patrons, because, well, they're the ones contributing money, right? They're the ones allowing me to continue to do what I do. So yeah, my goals are to keep my patrons happy and to engage with more people who possibly will become patrons. So yeah, that's the whole point. That's what we're all doing. So yeah, I don't know. Any parting thoughts? No parting thoughts from anybody? Just Dark Commission saying bye, Kris and Monkeys. We don't say bye. We say later, or in Anishinaabe, ba ma pi, which sounds like buy my pee, but it's not. Don't buy my pee. It's not even for sale. If you go to the website, you'll see things for sale. P won't be there. There's no P. There might be a letter P, but no actual P. Urine. We're talking about urine. Hail Bob. Bye laters. Bye laters. Bye laters. Leonid, thank you for your videos. They are simply amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad you get something out of them. I'm glad. Reese Taylor, in a bit, dude. In a bit. The P? We're getting weird now. We're going into some dark territory here. I'm gonna quickly get out of here. And yeah, so huge thank you to you guys for tuning in. My Grimshaw. I look forward to the next time. For what? For the show? Come on, you can't seriously be looking forward to the next show, for God's sakes. It's kind of amazing, really, that somebody who is as, I don't know, uncoordinated, undisciplined as myself can manage to speak coherently for 2 hours about any given subject. Leonid, cold, sweaty, smiley face. Sean Clark, P, the newest, most effective flow aid. Could you imagine? What if? Now one of you crazy assholes is probably going to go out there and go, yeah, Kris might be onto something here. I'm going to pee in my paint bottle. Everybody's going to be out there peeing into their Citadel paint pots. Got a couple drops in there. Why does every model smell like piss? Go to a game. Oh my God, that'd be awful. That'd be awful. Awful. Don't do it, people. For the love of God, don't do it. Pee in your bottles. I am curious now, though. I am curious. Rumen, the Nurgle Slaanesh experience. Yeah, that'd pretty much be it. Covered in pee. I was trying to think of a name for that kind of product, like, golden showers or, I don't know, rain on a sunny day. That kind of paint thinner. Rain on a sunny day. What is it made of? It's pee. Oh yeah, it's pee. Yeah, it's my pee. Why am I paying $12.50 for an ounce of my pee? Okay, I'm getting the hell out of here. Nurgle, yeah, bungled or Nurgle approves pee medium. Nurgle or Slaanesh, one of the two, or both. It's a Nurgle Slaanesh collaboration. Oh, I'm getting out of here. We're gonna end it right there because you really can't go any lower than that. Well, you can, but. Getting the hell out of here. I'll see you guys later. Man. Shit that comes out of this mouth sometimes. Not just pee.